Good afternoon and welcome to the University of Maryland. Members of the audience, please take note of the exit locations. In case of an emergency, please walk, don't run to your nearest exit. Please take this opportunity to turn off all phones and any other electronic devices. Thank you for your cooperation. Please rise for the processional and remain standing until our degree candidates and platform party take their seats. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the May 2019 graduating class of the Philip Merrill College of Journalism. Please be seated. Presiding over today's ceremony, Philip Merrill College of Journalism Dean Lucy Dalglish.
Good morning. Graduates of the class of 2019, honored guests, faculty and staff, parents and friends, welcome to the Philip Merrill College of Journalism's commencement ceremony. We are proud to honor the women and men who have completed the requirements for degrees of Doctor of Journalism Studies, Master of Journalism, Master of Arts in Journalism, the Graduate Certificate in Multimedia Studies, and the Bachelor of Arts in Journalism. Please let me to first introduce you to the platform party. Please stand as your name is called and remain standing until everyone has been introduced. And I ask the audience to please hold your applause until I have completed the introductions. First, we have today's commencement speaker, Chelsea James, political reporter for the Washington Post. Associate Dean for Academic Affairs and Director of the Master's Programs, Rafael Lorente. Associate Professor and Director of Merrill's Doctorate Program, Ronald Yaros. Professor Linda Steiner. Doctoral candidate, Karen Osman. Associate Professor, Ira Chenoy. Merrill College Lecturer, Director of Assessments, and our Graduate Multimedia Certificate Program Director, Christine Harvey. Assistant Dean for Undergraduate Studies, Josh Madden. Today's student commencement speaker, Daniel Oyefusi. Director of Internships and Career Development and Director of Master's Admissions, Adrienne Flynn. Associate Professor, Kalyani Chadha. Director of our Capital News Service Broadcast Bureau, Sue Kopen-Katzif. Professor Susan Muller. Associate Professor of Investigative Journalism, Deb Nelson. Director of our Capital News Service Field Producing Bureau, Tom Batag. Able Professor in Baltimore Journalism, Sandra Beniski. Professor of the Practice and Director of the Shirley Povich Center for Sports Journalism, George Solomon. Assistant Dean for External Relations, Katie Auni. Assistant Professor, Krishnan Vasudevan, Professor Kevin Close, and Broadcast Lecturer Bethany Swain. In the third row, the Director of our Capital News Service Annapolis Bureau, Karen Denny. Director of our Capital News Service Washington, D.C. Bureau, Jim Carroll. Lecturer Josh Davidsburg. Chief Congressional Correspondent for McClatchy Newspapers and Merrill Adjunct Lecturer, David Lightman. College of Journalism undergraduate student, Andrew Koska. College of Journalism undergraduate student, Keambre McLaughlin. And serving as our announcer, our communications manager and adjunct lecturer, Alex Piles. Please be seated, everyone. We are delighted to have so many family members and friends here for today's commencement ceremony. Our graduates are eager to show off their college, their university, their friends, and their teachers. And our students have invited the people that they love to today's ceremonies. They're nervous but excited. And so is their dean, always. Some of your friends and family members have come from pretty far away. And for the first time since I've been dean, my parents are here. They traveled from Grand Forks, North Dakota to meet all of you. Thank you. And I could not be prouder to show you guys off. Our graduates have worked hard and have made us very proud by producing top-notch, award-winning journalism, creating their own startups, getting jobs in newsrooms across the country, and participating in countless campus activities. So thank you for joining us today as we celebrate their accomplishments. Every year, our graduating seniors choose the distinguished journalists they would most like to hear from for our commencement ceremonies. The class of 2019 chose Chelsea Janes, a reporter covering the 2020 presidential campaign for the Washington Post. While she's now covering politics, Chelsea is not a stranger to Merrill College's sports students. She has frequently visited our classes and spoke at Shirley Povich symposiums during her tenure as the Post beat writer for the Washington Nationals from 2014 to 2018. Chelsea is one of those hardworking young journalists who got hired after a turn as a sports department intern in 2013. So the message to all of you guys out there, don't give up on those internships. Chelsea had internships at USA Today and the San Francisco Chronicle and covered the San Diego Padres for MLB.com. Her bachelor's degree is from Yale, and she has a master's degree from Stanford University. Please join me in welcoming Chelsea Janes.
Good morning. Congratulations. Thanks for having me. It's a huge honor to be here, but I would also be lying if I said it wasn't a little bit of a surprise. When I think of people that give these speeches, they always seem so put together and mature and wizened, and I pretty much spent the morning trying to make sure I wasn't going to have yogurt on my face, so I wasn't sure I was going to be able to offer much. But when I did get asked to speak here, I thought back to what I don't think was that long ago, when I was doing some of the first events I ever did for the sports program here and talking on panels, and the first time a student said, "What advice would you give a young journalist?" And I remember at the time thinking, wait, I'm still a young journalist. I can't give you my advice. Like, I'm still figuring this out. And I think I panicked and said something like, don't give up, you know, the corny advice we all get. And over the years, it kind of hit me that that was actually pretty decent advice, so I kept saying it. And now, as someone who is switching from somewhere I was very comfortable, covering baseball for 4 years, covering a sport I understood with people I knew, and switching to politics, which is an adventure unto itself, I realized don't give up was actually perfect advice, but that I was leaving something out. Because we've all heard don't give up, you know, the stories about all the shots Michael Jordan missed, or the actor who got rejected audition after audition before she got that part that made billions and changed her life, right? We've all heard those stories. And I think what they leave out is the part after those people heard no. The part where Michael Jordan goes into the locker room and smashes his hand against the locker, or when that actor calls her parents and says, I can't do this anymore. Or when, you know, hypothetically, you call about 10 people trying to get an answer to a question and nobody calls you back last night as you're stressing out or something, you know. And I think that that's incredibly important, because those are the times when don't give up actually matters, right? And I think part of that is harder when you're at your age, when you're young, when you're just starting out, when you can't look back and say, I've got this track record to lean on. When I was an intern at the Post in 2013, I was, I think, a few months away from the end of the internship, and I'm sure you guys have all been there, where you're sending out emails to like every editor you can think of, trying to drop names, use connections you would never actually use with people you don't really even know. So I was in that process, and I sent an email to the editor of a sports website that shall go unnamed, and, you know, sent my clip, sent my resume, and thought, I won't hear back. I actually did hear back, which, as you guys know, is sometimes surprising. And I'll never forget where I was when I did. I was in the office, no one was there yet, and I opened this email. And I wanted to read it to you today, but I actually couldn't find it, but I don't think I'll ever forget it. It said something like, thanks for sending this stuff. Your writing is fine, but it's clear you'll never be a writer. And if you want to get into editing, maybe if you start early, you'll have a chance doing that. And I actually have never told this story before because I'm really ashamed of it. Not because I got that email. I think we've all probably gotten those emails. But because of what I did next, which was not that I should have sent, an expletive-riddled email saying I disagree, but I actually responded, thanks for being honest. I'm really glad to have your opinion. Thank you, and I would love to get involved with editing jobs if you have them. And I cringe when I think about that now, because I wish I had just not responded or said that I respectfully disagreed. And instead I said, you must be right. And I know why I did, because at your age you don't have anything to lean back on. For all you know, that person could be right. That person who says you're not going to be a writer, whatever that means. But I wish someone had been there to tell me, you don't have to listen to that guy. Like, what does he know? And so what I'm telling you right now is you don't have to listen to that guy or the 3 guys that come after him, because they don't necessarily know anything. And even if the only second opinion you have to get is yours, that's okay. Because if there's anything that I've learned in what I consider to be a brief time since I was sitting where you are, it's that everyone is still trying to figure it out. There's no switch that's gonna flip, unfortunately or not, where you're gonna feel like an adult, where you're gonna stop having to worry about getting yogurt on your face and wake up feeling like you're wise, or you know what you're doing paying your taxes, or you can stand up here and give a speech. There's no switch that flips. Everybody's trying to figure it out. And as you know, in journalism, it's an evolving industry right now. Nobody knows what it should look like. Everybody's trying to find answers. And so that means no one answer is better than the other. And in fact, fortunately for me, the kind of operating premise of the entire post-2020 presidential campaign team is, remember, you don't know anything. And for me, obviously, that's great. But I think it sounds more negative than it is, because what it means is none of the old rules apply. So whatever you see, trust it. If you see something other people don't see, you might be right. And that's been good for me as someone who hasn't done politics before, working with a lot of people who have. In baseball, I knew what I was looking at. I was sure of myself. I knew when something was different. But we all sort of know when something isn't right or something's newsworthy, and just kind of trust yourself that you're right. And in that vein, when I did make the switch from baseball to politics, the editors approached me about it. It wasn't necessarily on my radar. I had done sports forever. And at the time, I was sort of a little bit burnt out on the Nationals, to be honest. There's sort of only so many times you can write about postseason collapses and bullpen blow-ups before you run out of words. So I was ready to sort of challenge myself, which, another piece of advice, always sounds really good in theory, but is actually harder in practice than it seems. But I think when you get a new job, a lot of people will just say, congratulations, right? They don't even know if it's a promotion or what it really means, but they just say congratulations and get on with your day. That was not my experience when I switched to politics. A lot of people were like, really? Are you sure? And some of my favorites were like, why? Why would you do that? And a lot of people wondered and asked me, what's the path, right? You're doing sports. That's an easy trajectory. You can move up. You can do national sports. You can be a columnist, and it all makes sense. And with a few notable exceptions, there are very few people who go sports to politics and make a name for themselves. It's hard to do in politics. There are a lot of really talented people, like there are in sports. And it really solidified something in me that I'm hoping is the right way to think about things, because I'm certainly all in on it, but that if I wanted to get where everyone else has already gotten, I can do the same things, right? If I do the same things everyone else has done, the way everyone else has done them, I'll end up in the same place. And I sort of decided I didn't necessarily want that, right? Like, instead of wanting to be, as a woman in sports journalism, a lot of times people will say, oh, you want to be the next insert name of most recent famous woman in sports journalism. And it struck me that that was probably a very limiting way to think about things. That instead of trying to be the next X person, I was probably just equipped to be the first me. And that was a really freeing realization, because it meant that I didn't have to take the paths everyone took, because I wasn't trying to get to the same place. And while it means there are a lot of moments where you're slamming your head against the wall and waiting for people to call you back that don't, it also sort of means you're following your path. And that's something I'm really proud of, is that I was able to make that choice. It's been very difficult. But I think it goes to the overall point I'm trying to make, which is that at this age, it might seem like there are a million people who tell you this is how you get where you're supposed to go. And really, they don't necessarily know anything. You know, no one's flipped a switch that helps them figure it out. Everyone hates to feel rejection. Everyone's been there. But there's no reason to think that your perspective isn't the one you should be listening to. There's no reason to think that that guy who says you're not going to be a writer, you can't do broadcast journalism, you can't do this, is right. Because for all you know, you might be the one who's right about you. And it would be an absolute shame if you didn't listen to you. Thank you, congratulations, and thank you for having me.
Chelsea, we'd like to give you this token of our appreciation.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Ronald Yaros, the director of our doctoral program, will now assist Dean Dalglish in presenting today's doctoral degree candidate, along with the faculty representative from the Students' Committee, Dr. Linda Steiner.
Has successfully completed all requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and Journalism Studies. Karen, would you please come forward to say a few words about your research at Merrill College?
Thank you, Linda. Hi. Thank you so much, Linda. It's a little bit embarrassing, but it wasn't until a few weeks ago when a student I was teaching 262 told me that a professor was a goat that I learned what that actually meant. I thought it was an insult. It wasn't about Linda, but I have to say, since I've learned what it meant, she's a goat. So, it's true. Thank you very much to my committee. Not everybody's here, so I'll just say thank you very much to the PhD committee. And I'd really like to thank Merrill College and all of the faculty, Dean Lucy Dalglish and Rafael Lorente, who was really instrumental in getting me into some of the newsrooms I needed to get into for the work that I was doing. All of you made me feel so much part of being the faculty, although I was not, and I have to say it really made a huge difference. So thank you really so much. I have to thank my cohort, Katie June Friesen and April, and you'll know what I mean, Moira and Agnes, who really helped us all through a lot of really trying times. Dana Priest, who can't be here, go figure, it's her birthday. She really helped me through a lot of depth of despair, as did my lovely daughter, who turned things around. She just graduated from high school and repeated what I said to her, just, you can do it, keep going. And of course, my husband, who it turns out doesn't really care about how journalism happens, as long as he gets the paper every day, which actually was a really good way of making me keep going as well. So I want to be very brief and tell you about my work, so I'll start with chapter 1. No, I'm just kidding, I'm kidding. When I started here, I was still a working journalist, and something that came up in journalism was this thing called audience engagement editor. So that really engaged me because I was like, what is this about? So I decided to write a dissertation looking at what audience engagement actually meant in the newsrooms. And I think a lot of you actually are going to be confronted with that, and maybe some of you want to be audience engagement editors. So I went into 3 newsrooms, the Asbury Park Press, WRIC in Richmond, and the Baltimore Sun, and interviewed a bunch of people at the Washington Post, and I will not continue to bore you. But these are really great places with lots of Merrill alum, I'll have you know. And they were incredibly generous and let me ask them a lot of questions. One of the results of my work was that it really made a difference if there was an editor in the newsroom who was a buffer between what corporate wanted and what the journalists needed to do their job. So I want to say that I hope everybody is as lucky as journalists that have these kind of editors are, as I was in having an editor like Linda Steiner, who is tough and honest and sometimes very unfiltered, which is very helpful because it's what you need to get the best out of the work that you're trying to do. So thank you very much, and thank you very much, Linda.
It is my privilege to present Karen Osman before Dean Dalglish and the college's faculty as eligible to be invested with a doctoral hood reflecting her earned degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dean Dalglish, in accordance with a recommendation of her examining committee, the journalism graduate faculty, and the graduate council, I request that you recognize Ms. Osman for her accomplishments and welcome her to the honorable company of learned women and men.
I am pleased to accept the faculty's recommendation, and I'm honored to welcome Karen Osman to the ranks of students of the Philip Merrill College of Journalism who have received the highest degree awarded by this university.
Associate Dean Rafael Lorente and Senior Lecturer Adrian Flynn will now present the master's degree candidates. Each candidate will receive a lithograph, and congratulations from Dean Dalglish.
Will those candidates who are here to receive master's degrees from the Philip Merrill College of Journalism please rise and approach the stage. In accordance with the recommendation of the faculty of the college, please recognize these candidates who have successfully completed all requirements for the degrees of Master of Arts and Master of Journalism. I'd also like to point out that two of them, Brooks DuBose in sports journalism and Lindsay Huth in investigative journalism, did specializations with us while they were here and will receive an extra certificate. Come on up. Brooks DuBose. Carolina Belloso. Maria Hurd. And Lindsay Huth. Will those students who have completed the 4-course requirement for a graduate certificate of professional studies in multimedia journalism please stand to be recognized? Please remain standing until all names have been called, and please hold your applause until the last name is called. Nicole Crawley, Brittany Johnson, Sharon O'Malley, and Stephanie Selzer. In accordance with the recommendation of the faculty of college, please recognize these certificate candidates. Thank you.
Assistant Dean Joshua Madden and Senior Lecturer Chris Harvey will now present the undergraduate degree candidates. Each candidate will receive a lithograph, and congratulations from Dean Dalglish.
Will all undergraduate degree candidates please step forward? In accordance with the recommendation of the faculty of the Philip Merrill College of Journalism, Please recognize these candidates for a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism. Mia Victoria Salentri. Julia Angel Heimlich. Hannah Marie Yasharoff. Pablo Roa. Jessica Francine George. Samantha Max Sober. Danielle Susan Kiefer. Sydney West. Asia Paez. Casey Lee Tomchek. Stephanie Lynn Parr. Pearl Marilyn Mack. Liam Luis Harrington. Connor Mark Hollingsworth. Jared Adam Baynard. Sam Edwin Merrill. Jack Lawrence Wisniewski. Daisy Jane Clace. Hunter Patrick Moore. Sinchali Singh. Victoria Lucia Gomez Borinat. David Lloyd Jong. Ambria Suwana Underwood. Brian Ubate. Eugene Jesse Nash IV. Daniel Gomez. Christopher Marshall Robinson. John Robert Mosman. Shrodi Rushi Bhatt. Alexandra Lene Robinson. Julia Rachel Lerner. Laura Nicole Spitalniak. Brian Scott Gallion. Michelle Renee Kettner. Alexander M. Richowalski. Jordan Ryan Katz. James William Crabtree Hannigan. Ryan Andrew Romano. Graham Ramsey Berry. Benjamin Alex Fox. James Ryan Anderson. Aaron Joseph Wilson. Alec O'Hara Perez. Harrison Luke Can. Catherine Marie Brzezowski. Jacob Leonard Weinberger. Jennifer Amber Casal. Evan Douglas Keene. Chiamaka Ofuluwe. Angie Paula Morales. Raquel Janine Royer. Victoria Rose Keene. Chinanzo Cynthia Mataforo. Kelly Zhang. Jasmine L. Boyd. Ashley Simone Clark. Alexander David Asifo. Simrit Aklilu. Jayani Smith. Melanie Letterman. Alexa Silverberg. Jacob Benjamin Orgel. Hannah Brockway. Connor Stanford Moldo. Sam Levin. Aurora Caridad Lazada. Jose Miguel Roca. Savannah Noel Williams. Jordan Rebecca Fox. Zachary Nelson Phillips. Noah Joseph Johnson. Kate Devaney Casey. Jamie Allison Bonchik. Evan Rose Silvera. Carly Rose Taylor. Morgan Emma Kaplan. Rebecca Michelle Cohen. Samantha Kara Rosen. Georgia Helena Slater. Kerrigan Nicole Stern. Nicole Aaron Kirkner. Abigail Kessler Benz. Juliana Evelyn Larson. Olivia Rose O'Kane. Brittany Nicole Goodman. Julia Kim. Caitlin Noel Hopkins. Mackenzie Reedy Roche. Jessica Jean Feldman. Justin Francis Fitzgerald. Alicia Cheram. Samantha Luckert. Hannah Rachel Borison. Amy Nicole Jennings. Chandler Carone Parr. Catherine Grace Brown. Excuse me. Miranda Jackson. Austin Haig Kleber. Casey Nunix. You gotta do it. Lauren Rachel Koenig. Molly Rachel Markowitz. Sarah Malinow. Danielle Sarah Stein. Ethan Benjamin Cadeau. Connor Race Hoyt. J. Titus Cannon. Harrison Meyer Goldstein. Scott Aaron Gelman. Angela Jacob. Thomas Trumbull Kenzora. Brian Evan Taylor. Connor Hartlove Newcomb. Jared Alexander Bellman. Joseph William Catapano. Justin Hayden Galanti. Jared Lewis Goldstein. Daniel Oyefusi.
So let us all congratulate today's graduates. And tomorrow at the main commencement, which I hope everybody comes to, I want you to make at least as much noise when I tell you all to stand up and be recognized, okay? Because we're a pretty small college, but we can make a lot of noise. Remember that. It is an ancient university tradition to give an outstanding graduate selected by our undergraduate students the opportunity to address the commencement assembly on behalf of fellow students. This year, they have selected Daniel Oyefusi to represent them. Daniel is a multi-platform journalism major from Baltimore. Over the past 4 years, you never knew where Daniel was going to turn up. He covered the Maryland General Assembly for Capital News Service, reported on Maryland football for the Left Bench, and covered high school football as a freelancer for the Washington Post. Somehow he found time to serve as president of the Maryland Association of Black Journalists and serve as co-editor-in-chief of the Black Explosion newspaper. Daniel will work as a postgraduate intern for the Commercial Appeal in Memphis over the summer. But the publisher and editor of the Baltimore Sun very proudly told me on Saturday that he has hired Daniel to cover the Ravens for his hometown newspaper starting September 1st. So please join me in welcoming Daniel Oyefusi.
Good morning, everybody. So before I start, anybody that knows me knows that, I like to talk, and I tend to ramble a little bit, but, for this speech, I decided to keep it pretty short. First off, I just want to thank all the family and friends that came out this morning to celebrate this occasion. And second, I just want to be one of the first to say congratulations to my peers and my fellow graduates to the class of 2019. I know that whether it was clip requirements for 320 or, package deadlines for 361, it seemed like we would never get here, but, we're here and we're Merrill made, so, you should be proud of yourself. So I feel like for most Merrill grads, they come into the University of Maryland knowing that journalism is what they want to do. They may have grown up watching ABC or NBC or read their local paper, and gravitated to the stories being told. Anybody that knows me knows that I took a different route to the point that I am right now. I came to the University of Maryland undecided, but planning to do biology on a pre-med track. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? You know, had it been my mom's way, I'd probably be getting ready for med school right now, but, you know, sophomore year, fall semester, I took my first chemistry course in lab, and, you know, y'all know the rest, I'm here. Now, in the time that I've spent at Merrill, I've had some great experiences, but during senior year, there's so much focus on what's ahead, whether it be with jobs and internships or whatever, that we never really take a moment to sit back and really reflect on the moments that we've had and enjoyed over the past 4 years. Personally, I'm going to miss a lot. I'm going to miss all the Merrill faculty and staff that I've worked with and learned from. I'm going to miss all the classmates that I bonded with over late-night assignments and last-minute deadlines. Gianna, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to miss the Maryland Association of Black Journalists, the student org on campus that I've had the pleasure of running over the last year. And while I'm going to miss a lot of things from Merrill, I'm not going to lie. There's some things I'm not going to miss, and, you know, my fellow graduates can probably relate. I'm not going to miss running around to get my last 320 clip in to my professor so I don't have to retake the class again. I'm not going to miss the cafe closing early when I know I have a 2-hour class at 7 p.m. coming up and I haven't eaten all day. And I'm definitely not going to miss rushing to the bubble to print out an assignment before class, only to find out there's no ink, no paper, or the printer's jammed. But overall, I'm really appreciative for my short journalism career thus far. Journalism has taken me to a lot of different places that I'm grateful for and I could have never imagined I'd be going. It's taken me across the country to Los Angeles for a summer internship and outside the country for a study abroad photography class in Mexico. And now it's taking me to Memphis after graduation before I return home to Baltimore for my first full-time job. But one of the most important places it's taken me is Annapolis, Maryland. I know that's kind of weird, but stick with me. So I was in Annapolis for Capital News Service, my capstone course this semester. I spent my time in Annapolis reporting on the Maryland General Assembly, but during this time, I was also fortunate enough to meet several journalists from the Capitol Gazette. As I'm sure most of you know, several workers from the Capitol lost their lives last June from a senseless act of gun violence in their very own newsroom. So while going about my work this semester, I saw these journalists from the Capitol continue their work as well, just months after tragedy. Their determination to push out great journalism was admirable at the least and awe-inspiring at best. I'm bringing this up because we live in a time where journalists and frankly journalism is under attack. But I want every graduate to know, leaving today, that wherever you are and whatever you do, it's important, it's necessary, and it's valuable. And that's from the White Horse correspondent holding the President of the United States accountable to the literal sports writer like me asking a few tough questions after a game. Now, there's a reason why Chase Cook, a reporter at the Capitol, tweeted, just hours after the shooting, "We're putting out a damn paper tomorrow." He saw the importance of pushing forward quality journalism even in the face of tragedy. So while we go out on our different journeys and we're faced with any type of adversity, because you know the business, there's always adversity, I want you to remember that tweet, and I want you to remember that we play just as important a role in our society as any doctor, any teacher, any police officer. But most importantly, I want you all to remember that we're important, we're necessary, and we're valuable. Thank you, and again, congrats to the class of 2019. We're Merrill made.
Thank you, Daniel. That was awesome. While all students work hard to earn their degrees, there are a few who deserve special recognition because of their accomplishments. In your program, you will find the names of this year's award recipients as recommended by members of our faculty.
Senior lecturer Sue Kopin-Katzeff will recognize the Outstanding Broadcast News Senior for this commencement.
Would Danielle Stein please step forward? It gives me tremendous pleasure to present Merrill's Outstanding Broadcast Student Award to Danielle Stein. I have had the absolute pleasure of knowing and working closely with Danielle for the past couple of years. First, as one of the sports anchors for our CNS TV news program, Merrill and Newsline. Then last fall, Danielle was one of our reporters and anchors in our CNS Broadcast Bureau. We were lucky to have Danielle stick around again this spring, continuing to be one of our primary sports anchors yet again. This absolutely devoted Red Sox and Patriots fan describes herself on her website as a passionate reporter and creative storyteller. And I could not agree more about her passion, her creativity, and I will add her incredible dedication. As George Solomon, the head of our Povich Center, puts it, Danielle is the type of person you look forward to seeing when you come to work. And boy, does Danielle work. Danielle, who graduates with a business minor in innovation and entrepreneurship, has had many accomplishments over her 4 years here at Merrill. Here are just some of them. Danielle pioneered and led the university's first student-run sports television show, The Left Bench TV. Not only did she oversee a staff of more than 30 students, but she anchored the biweekly digital sportscast, as well as contributed to other aspects of the on-air product. For more than 3 years, Danielle has also served as a sideline reporter for Big Ten Network Student U, covering Maryland soccer, field hockey, and lacrosse. Danielle has now twice served as a Boston Red Sox broadcast associate, was a production intern for ESPN's Pardon the Interruption, and was an assignment desk intern for Boston's NBC 10. Danielle is leaving Merrill after having served the past few years as the president of the Maryland chapter of the Association for Women in Sports Media and president of the a cappella group, the Troublemakers. Danielle's also earned a few honors along the way, too. They include the All-Star Student Award from our Povich Center for Sports Journalism. And just within the past couple of months, Danielle has been honored with reporting awards for her work with CNS last semester from the Society of Professional Journalists, the Maryland-Delaware D.C. Press Association, and our regional chapter of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. You would know that better as the Emmys. Danielle absolutely personifies the very best of Merrill. She is passionate, motivated, and willing to work hard while having some fun along the way. Danielle, I'm so very pleased to be able to present you with this award as the Merrill College's Outstanding Broadcast Student. Congratulations.
Associate Professor Ira Chenoy will now recognize our Outstanding Multimedia News Senior for this commencement.
Will Catherine Brzezowski please come forward? So I first got to know Kat 3 years ago when she took my class on journalism history for students entering the major, and I could see right away her intelligence, work ethic, work ethic and capacity for original insight. And this semester, I was really pleased to find Kat in my classroom again, amazing that she came back, for a course on the past, present, and future of emerging media in journalism. In addition to her journalism background, she also brought perspectives from her second major, marketing, which is in the business school, and I have to tell you that these are two very challenging majors to take at the same time. And somehow she also managed to do study abroad twice during winter semesters, so once in Southeast Asia and once in Australia and New Zealand. Kat's worked as a summer intern at the Daily Record in Baltimore, and where she covered legal and financial news, and she's also been an analyst and a leader with a national nonprofit called Consult Your Community, through which students basically provide consulting services at no cost to small businesses nearby. I want to share two stories with you that I heard from my colleague Karen Denny. These deal with Kat's time fulfilling her capstone course requirement as a reporter in the Capitol News Service Bureau in Annapolis. So Karen is the bureau director and the capstone instructor, and she told me of an episode involving a state cabinet secretary on Kat's beat. One day, Karen told me, the official was so scared of facing an interview with Kat that he tried to hide in another person's office to get away. Someone in the office where he was hiding told him, and I quote, "There's no trap door. She's still out there." And he eventually came out and talked to her. And in another bit of Kat Brzezowski lore, she found out that jail inmates were sneaking stuff into their cells by fishing out the broken windows of their jail cells down to the street below, where friends, family, and fellow gang members were waiting. Kat figured this out by noticing a Board of Public Works contract to replace metal gratings on the jail windows. So after graduation, I believe, Kat is going to work as an analyst for a company in Baltimore that helps customers with the digital economy. And in the future, she has told me that she hopes to help solve funding issues that have really challenged local and legacy newsrooms across the country. That is so noble, and it is so Kat. So please join me in congratulating Kat. Good luck. Keep us in the loop when you're out there doing the great things that we know that you will do.
Associate Professor Kalyani Chadha will now recognize this commencement's Kappa Tau Alpha awardees and top KTA awardee.
Kappa Tau Alpha was founded in 1910 at the University of Missouri. It is the nationally recognized honor society for those individuals pursuing scholarship in the field of journalism. Established in 1961, the Maryland chapter has been recognizing academic excellence among its graduates for over 50 years. Each year, our chapter recognizes those students who have academically performed in an outstanding manner. The following students have responded to that recognition. Will the following new initiates please come to the stage to receive your Kappa Tau Alpha certificate? Please remain on stage after receiving your award. Catherine Grace Brown. Jennifer Amber Casal, Jordan Rebecca Fox, Scott Aaron Gelman, Erin Constance Nebbia, Samantha Cara Rosen, Evan Silvera, Georgia Slater, Carly Rose Taylor, and Kelly Zhang. Samantha Rosen. Evan Silvera. Georgia Slater, Georgia Harley Taylor, Catherine Brown, Jordan Fox, I think Erin could not be with us today. Please join me once again in congratulating these outstanding students. You may return to your seats except for Kelly Zhang. At this time, we'd like to recognize the Kappa Tau Alpha Top Scholar Award, and the winner for that is Kelly Zhang. Please join me in congratulating these students. Thank you.
Congratulations to all the KTA initiatives. On June 28, 2018, a gunman armed with an automatic shotgun assassinated 5 members of the staff at the Annapolis Capital-Gazette newspaper. Merrill College and the Capital-Gazette have long and very close ties. In fact, Philip Merrill, for whom our college is named, was the longtime owner of the newspaper. Many of our alumni have started their careers in Annapolis. And immediately after the shooting, the Capital-Gazette moved into our Annapolis newsroom, and they're getting ready to move into their new space in the next couple of weeks. 3 of the murdered people had special ties to Merrill College. Editorial writer Gerald Fishman graduated from Merrill in 1979. Sports journalist John McNamara graduated in 1983. Editor, reporter, and columnist Rob Hyacin was an adjunct lecturer who taught reporting at Merrill College. We thought about it for a while and thought that perhaps the best way we could honor the Capital-Gazette victims would be to create 3 new awards. The Gerald Fishman Award for News Commentary and Criticism honors Gerald Fishman, a thoughtful, tenacious opinion writer whose commentary on the Capital-Gazette's opinion pages year after year helped clarify issues for Annapolis citizens for decades. The Fishman Award this year goes to Keambre McLaughlin, a sophomore journalism major, for a piece she wrote for the Baltimore Sun called "Jonathan Tobash is More Than a Homicide Number in Baltimore." In this piece, Keambre eulogizes a high school classmate, Jonathan Tobash, who at the age of 19 became the 335th person killed in Baltimore in 2018. Keambre is a Baltimore resident, and she called on her fellow citizens to honor Jonathan's memory. Keambre, could you please come up and get your award? The John McNamara Sports Writing Award honors one of Maryland's most beloved sports writers, John McNamara. He is remembered especially for his coverage of Terp basketball. The winner of the McNamara Writing Award is Andy Kostka, a junior journalism major who won for a portfolio of stories about the Terps football program published by the Diamondback. The stories included a news feature about football donors who stood by former football coach DJ Durkin following the death of offensive lineman Jordan McNair, a game story recapping the team's failed upset bid against 9th-ranked Ohio State, and a profile of linebacker Trey Watson, an Illinois transfer student who became an integral part of the Maryland defense. Andy, could you please come up and receive your award? The Rob Hyacin Adjunct Faculty Award recognizes the role of our adjunct lecturers, most of whom have full-time jobs in newsrooms across the region. They come at all hours of the day and night, not for the love of money, but for the love of you guys sitting out here. They play a very important role, as you know, in your quest to become journalists. The winner of the Hyacin Award is David Lightman, who is the chief congressional correspondent for McClatchy newspapers. He has taught news reporting and writing at Merrill College for more than 2 decades. Rob and David work together to teach advanced reporting courses. Merrill College adjuncts, as I mentioned, teach for the love of our students, not the pay. Rob used to teach in the evenings, and I would often run into him as I was leaving for the day. David teaches early in the morning, and he's usually leaving as I show up. And he uses the energy he gets from our students to jumpstart his day. We are so blessed to be able to honor the work of these important contributors to the college. David, could you please come forward? As we conclude our ceremony, I have a few thoughts to share with our graduates. You are entering journalism at an exciting and unsettling time. Some of you covered the political races and election results both nationally and in Maryland for Capital News Service. You covered stories ranging from disparities in plea bargaining deals nationwide to the Ellicott City floods and the effect of cold temperatures on the health of low-income families in Baltimore. You witnessed the exceptional political campaign of 2016, followed by 2 years of incredible conflict and disruption in politics, law, technology, and education, often by being called the enemy of the people, which you know you are not. All journalists have had to learn hard lessons about balance, fairness, and most importantly, facts. Washington Post columnist Margaret Sullivan refers to what we used to call mainstream media as the reality-based press. You have been taught by the best journalism faculty members in the country to report on reality. You know that your communities, indeed our democracy, need timely, factual, fair, and insightful coverage of the issues that matter, whether they be a presidential election or a local zoning commission controversy. You will speak truth to power and shed light on the forgotten. Do not be discouraged by officials who lie, fraudsters who make up stories, social media networks that perpetuate falsehoods, and members of the public who vilify you for your occupation. We are counting on you. We need you. Be proud. Remember, journalism is an act of citizenship. Finally, you have worked very hard to earn your degrees. Thank you, and your families, for trusting us with your education. You have brought us great joy, and you make us proud every single day. It's time to go out to the world and show them what you have learned. This is a very big university, but I hope you have found a close-knit family at Merrill College. In the coming years, you will run into alums from around the country who will always be happy to meet you and to help you. They, and now you, are our best recruiters. Work hard, follow your inner ethical compass, value teamwork, and in the words of one of my favorite country singers, Tim McGraw, when you get where you're going, don't forget to turn back around and help the next one in line. Always stay humble and kind. And make sure you always keep us up to date on the great things you are doing, and always consider Merrill and the University of Maryland your home. Thank you to all of the faculty and administration members for participating in today's ceremony, particularly Sarap Rada for managing today's ceremony, Alex Piles for serving as our announcer, and Natalie Kosner for keeping everyone in the Dean Suite, particularly me, organized every day. So please join us on the front terrace. It's a lovely day, and join us in honoring and congratulating our graduates. Have a great day, and be sure to come back to commencement tomorrow. It's loads of fun. Thanks.
Will everyone please rise for the recessional? Please remain standing during the recessional until the platform party and students have filed out, then follow the recessional outside. Thank you, have a good day, and go Terps!